Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. The headlines. President Buhari pledges commitment to security and safety of Nigerians, unveils mine-resistant vehicle, a product of Nigerian Army. INEC to engage National Assembly on electoral reform. Ministries, departments and agencies to implement the National Disability Act. And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday in Daura, Katsina State, said Nigeria's socio-economic and political salvation will come from education and urged citizens to embrace learning as a way of life while the government would do its best to provide access. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the President, who was honored in his country home Daura to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the founding of Community Secondary School Daura, said he became orphaned early, but his 9 years in boarding school and joining the army shaped his life. The President and 5 others founded the Community Secondary School as a community service. He praised the current management of the school, which has been renamed Pilot Secondary School Daura, for maintaining high standards. President Buhari implored the Old Boys Association to carry on the good work leading up to the current position of the school. Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, while presiding over the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council's meeting, said the President is concerned about complaints regarding the airports. This is in a renewed effort to improve the experience of travelers at the airports, especially that of Lagos and Abuja. And the immediate improving steps are in the offing, as PEBEC will be working with the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria and the Immigration Service to establish certain standards. Ministers at the meeting include that of Trade, Industry and Investment, Adeniyi Adebayo, Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyema, Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, and Police Affairs, Mohammed Megari, as well as Acting Head of Service of the Federation, Folashade Mieson. And to protect the nation's education system against the evils of exam malpractice, sex for grades, and cultism, a new plan of action by the Federal Ministry of Education has become imperative. The plan should include an online blacklist register of indicted lecturers to prevent their engagement by unsuspecting institutions. This is the position of Exam Ethics Marshals International at a press briefing in Abuja. Kelvin Eponai has details.
The negative impact of examination malpractice, cultism, and sex for grades and the quality of certificates awarded in the nation's higher institutions is enormous. While stakeholders commend the ongoing process enacting a law against sexual harassment in higher institutions, the Exam Ethics Marshals International is seeking a national consultative conference of education leaders to confront the problem head-on, because the product of examination malpractices will eventually grow to hold leadership positions in the future, a situation the group says will be disastrous to the country.
Unless we do something, unless we rebuild, unless we strengthen the moral infrastructure of our educational system, the fight against corruption will be difficult to win. Because as you are catching some people who are stealing money, you are producing many others who will replace them.
At the moment, Exam Ethics Marshals International is collecting online signatures to push for the quick passage of the Sexual Harassment Prohibition Bill of the National Assembly. In Abuja, Kelvin Eponai, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has directed ministries, departments and agencies of government to ensure full compliance with the provisions of the National Disability Act 2019, which prohibits all forms of discrimination against persons living with disability. The Permanent Secretary, Ecological Funds Office, Habib Alawal, stood in for the SGF at an event to commemorate those with Disabilities in the Office of Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Mikaira Ikben reports.
Samuel Udo, who works in the Salaries and Variations Department, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, is visually impaired.
It becomes difficult for me to even to move around.
Umar Audu, a supervisor in the Maintenance Department, also speaks on his special needs.
My work have to do with going under the sun, and my skin is very sensitive to the sun. So one of the basic needs which I seriously need now is if we can get sunscreen, so that when we rub is a cream, a lotion that is able to, prevent the sunlight from doing more damage to us. So getting sunscreen is very difficult.
Some of us need a chair that we move so that we be able to move from one office to the other.
It is the second consecutive year the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is according special recognition to its officers who are physically challenged. Apart from instituting this annual tradition, the office wants other ministries, departments and agencies of government to hold regular meetings with staff who have special needs.
In order to obtain first-hand information on their needs and challenges with a view to finding possible solutions.
This celebration will not stop here.
Government at all levels is expected to give equal opportunity to persons with disabilities and help them achieve their dreams and contribute meaningfully to society. In Abuja, Mikaira Ikben, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has reiterated federal government's resolve to do everything within its constitutional power to guarantee the security and safety of law-abiding citizens. Speaking at this year's annual conference of the Chief of Army Staff in Kaduna, the president reassured the nation that this is a commitment that will be kept. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports.
In line with the theme of the conference, application of the cutting edge of the Nigerian Army in tackling contemporary challenges of security, President Muhammadu Buhari unveiled some mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles named Ezugu. The vehicles were locally designed and manufactured by the Nigerian Army to carry out insertion and extraction of troops, assault, counter-terrorism, and delivery of high firepower and urban warfare. President Buhari described as encouraging that apart from promoting the government's local content policy, the Nigerian Army, as a critical element of national power, is also transforming itself to becoming an organ to be proud of in the future by all Nigerians.
I wish to commend the Chief of Army Staff whose laudable efforts at transforming the Nigerian Army. He has keyed into the federal government change agenda, and I particularly commend his thrust in the critical areas such as innovative and inventive approach to producing military hardware. This government will continue to support the Army to sustain these laudable initiatives aimed at repositioning you to deal with contemporary security challenges and to achieve a modern army of the future.
The president also applauded the Nigerian Army's commitment to capacity building, training, and conduct of military exercises, especially I Am Akpatuma and Crocodile Smile, aimed at enhancing operational efficiency as well as facilitating conducive environment for socio-economic activities to thrive.
I salute the courage and the gallant efforts of the personnel of the Nigerian Army. I am highly impressed with the conduct of operations that continue to flush out the terrorists from their enclaves. I urge you to sustain this great effort.
Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, in a goodwill message, said the people of Kaduna can never forget the role played by the Nigerian Army in achieving and maintaining the prevailing peace enterprise across the state.
The Nigerian Army helped restore peace and stability in the southern Kaduna Senatorial District. The Army helped in no small way in decimating the capacity of cattle rustlers and kidnappers operating in this state and in surrounding states. the Army played a leading role in confronting the menace of the outlawed El Zakzaki movement, which had been oppressing the people of Nigeria and environment for the past 30 years. The government and people of Kaduna State are very grateful to the Nigerian Army.
All challenges of operational, logistics, and administrative support will be addressed to further reposition the Nigerian Army to prepare for the next year final onslaught of Boko Haram.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, attributed the giant strides being recorded by the Nigerian Army in the discharge of its responsibilities to the unprecedented support, assistance, and guidance of the President.
I want to humbly reassure Mr. President of our unalloyed loyalty and respect to the Constitution.
Also in Kaduna, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the 44 Reference Hospital of the Nigerian Army, recently upgraded and equipped with state-of-the-art facilities. The hospital will not only provide excellent medical services to the nation's troops, but also serve the needs of the United Nations personnel as a Level 4 hospital. Meanwhile, the President has returned to Abuja after his official engagements in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, as well as Katsina and Kaduna states that lasted 5 days. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now, voices for the establishment of a commission for persons living with disability is getting louder, with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development adding its clout to the cause. The ministry's proposal is coming on the day the world marks the International Day for People Living with Disability in Abuja. Ruth Agwele reports.
At a first glance, Kalu Eke looks like any normal young Nigerian youth, but a close look reveals that he is visually impaired. Eke says he lost his sight at a very tender age, but his dreams were not cut short because he was privileged to be educated.
Being a PhD student of UNM, I'm one person that don't give in for any challenge.
Kalu is among the 19 million Nigerians said to be living with disability, and today he joins many others here to clamor for the protection of their rights. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is offering the platform to commemorate the International Day for Persons Living with Disability.
We must enable everyone to participate in the task of nation building. There is no such thing as disability.
And I know that these are people who don't need our sympathy. All they need is love.
A parliament for persons with disability was inaugurated to raise the bar in the face of their challenges with the unveiling of the Disability Prohibition Act.
And the significance of it is that for them to know that they are not left behind, they are being carried along, they are going to be supported in whatever way they need the government's support. So it's a very important commission. They're going to have projects and programs that the government is going to execute.
Probably from 2020, we'll need to start galvanizing the voice of people with disability across the region to understand what are the real issues.
Even in our Open Education Free campaign, that even disabled people must have functional toilets that would enable them to use them regardless of their abilities.
To the likes of AK, this is a ray of hope towards the eventual establishment of a commission. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Thank you, Ruth. You're watching the news on NTA International. It's time for a break. More news after the time out.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka. Panic.
Can say me no panic.
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Yeah, press OK. Wow, now you self fit catch all those channels will be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make you groove for no loss. You see as I do, Amabi? And I say as I do am.
Go TV. Live it. Love it.
And I say as we do am.
Thanks for staying with NTA International. Now, ECOWAS member countries must work for a holistic approach for a robust public financing of agriculture in the sub-region to harness the abundant agricultural potential, as well as moving their people out of poverty and hunger. This was the consensus of stakeholders at the second ECOWAS People's Agriculture Budget Summit in Abuja. Ado Adamu also reports.
Have you eaten today?
In the chamber of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, a delegate from ECOWAS member states and different other African countries to discuss agriculture as the mainstay of the region's economy. The interaction therefore provides the much-needed opportunity for frank discussion on how to tap the vast agricultural potential, especially on meeting the Maputo Declaration for 10% budgetary provision for agriculture by all member states.
There's an urgent need for massive and unprecedented investment in the agriculture sector for domestic consumption, needs a better Africa, wealthy Africa that are benefiting from natural resources and the agricultural benefits we have.
Agriculture, as we've been hearing, is very important to the sustenance and livelihood of the West African sub-region. It helps to reduce unemployment and poverty, which is a very major challenge for all of us.
As important as the first Sustainable Development Goal SDG, which is to eradicate poverty by 2030 is, participants say this can only be achieved in the region through provision of social protection to farmers in order to achieve sustainable development.
To ensure that our farmers, our agriculture develops into the engine of economic growth for the region.
We need to do more, especially for member states that have not yet reached the 10% limit.
Members of the ECOWAS Parliament resolved to provide a legislative framework that will harmonize the region's agricultural policies and programs, especially in the areas of budgeting, as well as leveraging on individual countries' comparative advantage. In Abuja, Adua Demwalso, NTA News.
And from agriculture to electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission is strengthening its processes to ensure the effective use of smart card readers and to engage the National Assembly for robust electoral reform. The chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, stated this in a meeting with all the resident electoral commissioners in Abuja. Ugi was there for NTA News.
Resident electoral commissioners from Bayelsa and Kogi states. Toast of the day because they are just coming from the field. Beyond the funfair, they have an assignment in this meeting.
It is therefore important to undertake our internal appraisal of recent elections, beginning with briefings by the resident electoral commissioners responsible for states where elections were held.
It is the last meeting of the year 2019, and the string of court litigations is a burden. From the 2019 general elections, INEC has received 807 petitions, and for the chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, effective use of the smart card reader and painstaking electoral reform process is the only way out.
One critical area that the commission will engage the National Assembly is the status of the smart card reader. We have drawn public attention to our constraints in this regard. We have no capacity to arrest offenders and conduct investigation. That is why we believe that the Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal will dispense justice dispassionately and speedily in the same way that the Electoral Court deals with violators in other countries such as South Africa.
The doors of the meeting are closed for family talks. But outside, the door of a vehicle opened, and it was Smart Adeyemi, Senator-elect for Kogi West. A long walk to victory, and here he is to collect his certificate of return. Though not alone, but with Mohammed Idris, member House of Representatives elect for Ajakuta Federal Constituency for the just concluded National Assembly supplementary elections in Kogi State, sharing the same mission with SMART at the INEC office, that is to collect his own certificate of return as well.
To continue in joining President Muhammadu Buhari
move Nigeria to the next level. I'm very happy. That's all I can tell you this morning.
One more step to finally acquiring a seat in the red and green chambers, that is, the swearing in at the National Assembly. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Now to legislative matters. The Senate has received a request from President Muhammadu Buhari seeking the confirmation of the appointment of 16 members of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports that the Senate thereafter adjourned 30 minutes after reconvening for Tuesday plenary in honor of a serving member of the House of Representatives, Jafaru Ilyasu, who died on Monday this week.
The National Assembly lobby is the entrance hall to both chambers of the Parliament. The mood would be inside the two legislative chambers usually reflected here. The mood at the lobby Tuesday morning was that of grief, mourning, shock, as members and staff were seen discussing a late member of the House of Representatives, Jafaru Ilyasu from Niger State. Inside the Senate chamber, the mourning mood continued but temporarily gave way when the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, read President Muhammadu Buhari's request for the confirmation of nominees as chairman and members of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria.
Zikirullah Skiru Olakunle Hassan, position chairman, state of origin, Osun State. The Senate may wish to note that the names of the representatives of the Jamaat al-Nasr al-Islam and Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs will be sent to the Senate subsequently.
Shortly after, Senate suspended all items on its order paper, observed a minute silence and adjourned in honor of the late member as moved by Leader of the Senate, Yahya Abdullahi. Among the items stepped down include the consideration of the report of the 2020 Appropriation Bill. Meanwhile, the Senate Joint Committees on Nigerian Navy, Maritime Transport and Finance have commenced investigation into the activities of organizations at the secured anchorage area where the management of the Nigerian port authorities stressed that the Nigerian Navy are statutorily mandated to provide security at the areas with no cost to vessel owners.
Agencies should take on their role in totality. Vessel owners should not be made to pay for anchoring their vessels. We have to be responsible to ensure our waterways are safe.
Rear Admiral Tari Warrior Dick, who spoke for the Nigerian Navy, acknowledged its mandate and explained that it's been carrying out its functions judiciously. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has, in honor of a deceased lawmaker, late Jafaru Ilyasu, suspended plenary to Wednesday, December 4th. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The Deputy Speaker, Ahmed Idris, while presiding at plenary Tuesday, formally announced to the House the demise of member representing Magama Rijau Federal Constituency of Niger State, after which prayers were offered for his repose.
Grant him Al-Jannah Firdaus as his permanent place of abode. Amen. Ya Allah, we pray thee in your most exalted and mighty names. Ya Allahur Rahmanur Rahim al-Malik al-Qudus al-Samad. Ya Khaliq al-Bari al-Musawwir al-Ghaffar. Ya Qahhar al-Wahhab al-Razzaq al-Fatah.
The lawmakers at the signing of his condolence register described him as a Democrat with a high sense of commitment to service.
He believes in Nigerian unity, believes in what the Nigerian people had been yearning for, that is being able to give them the dividend of democracy.
Someone who is new in the House, but he's been very, very dynamic. He's a member of my ad hoc committee. Even this Thursday, we were with him and he made a lot of contributions to the debate.
What this does is to make all of us very humble. We will definitely miss him as his colleague, so you can imagine how it will be for his own family. So this is actually a very sad thing that happened.
The late Jafaru Ilyasu was elected into the 9th House of Representatives on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. He died on Monday at his Maitama residence in Abuja. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Update.
President
Muhammadu Buhari is expected to flag off the second edition of National Anti-Corruption Marathon in Abuja December 9 in commemoration